Hi, my name is Owen, and today I want to do something a little bit differently than what I normally do. I normally do reviews of books that I just finished or movies that I just watched. But one of the major problems I have with entertainment, and I'm sure a lot of people suffer from the same thing as I do, is that there's just too much content out there, and it's so overwhelming on what piece of great media or great entertainment you want to commit your time to. So I find myself a lot easier to commit to books, no matter how long they are, rather than visual mediums. I don't know if it's because I feel better about myself if I'm reading rather than like watching TV. But that just means that I miss a lot of great shows that a lot of people like, and people who love watching TV and love watching movies, who see everything. They're like, you gotta see this, guy, see this guy, this, and it piles up, right? And it's very overwhelming. So what I want to do for this series is, instead of reviews, I want to provide recommendations. This is the stuff that me, who's a stubborn old curmudgeon about watching stuff that I've watched and stuff that I recommend to you if you're also like me and you don't want to commit to stuff. This is the curated, streamlined stuff that I feel like you must watch. And this is for someone who doesn't watch everything, right? And I'm not going to be recommending stuff like Game of Thrones, like House of the Dragon, right? Because everybody knows that that's great stuff. And I'm not going to be fronting like back of the road stuff because, like I said, I'm not watching everything, so I'm probably not going to see this stuff that's like out of the woods. But just stuff that maybe is overlooked as not must-sees, but I disagree, right? So I'm going to call this the quick recommendation series. What I'm going to do is tell you what I'm recommending and tell you why I recommend it and why it's worth your time, because our time is so valuable, right? So for the first episode, I'm sure you've seen by the title, is Welcome to Wrexham, a documentary TV show. A little out of the woods, right? But trust me rather, it's worth it. It's on Hulu right now. It aired on FX as it was premiering. 18 episodes, between like 20 minutes, like half hour in length, like that length in show, not too long. 18 episodes sounds like a lot, especially a documentary series, but I cannot emphasize enough, this is worth your time. The main draw of the show is obviously Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, who were like the stars of it, the celebrity like intrigue to bring you in it. But the documentary series is about them buying the soccer club in Wales, in the town of Wrexham. So it's very interesting. It's kind of like Ted Lasso-esque, of like the Americans coming into the UK scene and buying this Welsh football club, which they know nothing about. But I can't stress enough, I do not care about soccer or football at all. And like I like Deadpool, but like I'm not a huge Ryan Reynolds guy, and I love It's Always Sunny, but like Rob McElhenney wasn't my favorite actor on the show, so like I didn't have that much emotional investment, but I was intrigued like by the celebrities doing something wacky, which brought me in. But the story that this documentary follows is actually so engaging and actually a lot deeper than just celebrities doing something silly. You know what I mean? This isn't like E! Magazine. Is that a magazine? I don't know. The People magazine, whatever. It's beyond the celebrity aspect, but they trick you by that's like their hook. So like you might be thinking, oh, I'm not really interested in Ryan Reynolds, so like I don't really care and I don't really like soccer. You don't have to. I promise you, just check it out. What this documentary series does so well, like I just hinted at, is they bring you in with the celebrities and they're in it a lot. So like it's not like clickbait or whatever. They're in it plenty, but they get you invested in the town just as quickly. So it's no longer you're watching Ryan and Rob do this thing. It's you're with them doing this thing, and you want to see them succeed, the team succeed just as much as them. And it doesn't get overly specific on like soccer and sports and stuff like that. So if you're not even a sports fan, it doesn't matter, because it's more about the town, this small Welsh town with a lot of charm and a lot of colorful characters, and just like their way of life and how much they rely on this team for their economy and for like their mental health. It's absolutely fascinating. And the 18 episodes went by like that. And I'm not a binger either. I think I watched like most of the episodes up to like maybe like 13 or 14. Then I watched them weekly. And it ended up about like 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago max. So it's very fresh stuff. And they were announced, confirmed for season 2. But basically the whole documentary series is about them buying the team, their adjustments, and then their goals to get promoted to another league. And they explain all that stuff. But what's really charming about this show, like I said, is your investment in the town. Obviously, like Ryan Reynolds and Rob are like super charismatic and funny, so that keeps it going. But the other thing I liked about this, which was unique for a documentary series, is that they weren't afraid to change up the format episode to episode. For the most part, they're largely the same. It's about like a particular storyline, or like they'll focus on one member of the team or one member of the community for like as the focus of that episode, which I feel like a lot of documentary shows do pretty frequently. But they would even go as far as doing, I'm going to say, gimmick episodes. But for example, I know people my age grew up watching like Crash Course U.S. History or Crash Course History with John Green, the author John Green, maybe in like your like high school growing up or like middle school or stuff like that. They do an episode where he gives one of those for the history of Wales, which was like super fascinating, and I was not expecting it, because it's just like, obviously it's super educational, but the fact that they like aren't afraid to like make like a full length Crash Course video in an episode of like standard TV was very fascinating. And also in that episode, they do like a cooking show thing where Ryan and Rob are like learning Welsh and stuff like that. So it's to promote their club in Wales, but also to like show us a little bit about the culture and like spruce up the format. And then they also do things like bring in a masculinity expert, and she like breaks down like why the men of the community like have so much invested in soccer, like versus the women, and like how they take out their emotions, stuff like that. So they're not even afraid to like be self-aware about what's going on and like the emotions of sports and stuff like that. So it's super educational and super thought-provoking about a story about two guys from America buying a soccer team. But it's so much deeper than that. And I personally got super invested, where I was like Googling, how is Wrexham doing this year? Because like this takes place in like 2021 and like maybe like some parts in 2020. But I'm like, how are they doing it this season? Like, I'm curious. Like, I'm invested to see like how successful they are now, which I guess will be shown in season 2. So I probably like spoiled it, but it's real life. You can't spoil real life. But overall, it's super engaging, 20-minute episodes. So you could watch an episode like every once in a while, and it won't feel like you're wasting too much time, because sometimes like hour-long episodes like freak me out. But I can't recommend it enough. So that's my first quick recommendation. Check it out. It's on Hulu, streaming on Hulu. You won't regret it. Enjoy.